So back on October the 21st, I gave you guys my analysis on ticker symbol AMD. And I said if the stock could get above 239, then look for a run to 248. And if the stock could get above 248, then look for a run to 258, which was a return of over 8%. Take a listen. Now to the upside, if AMD can get and stay above 239, then I want you guys to look for a 4% run to 248. And if the stock could get above 248, then look for a run to 258, which from current price would be a return of over 8%. And looking at the current chart, you guys can see that once AMD got above 239, the stock pretty much went straight to 248 and then to 258. Once again, showcasing my accuracy when it comes down to price predictions. Now, were there any actual clues that AMD wanted to go to 258? And the answer to that question is going to be yes, with clue number 1 being that the stock was bouncing off support at 224, and the second clue is that the stock was forming a bullish broadening wedge above that support zone, which is what resulted in that move to 258. Now let's go ahead and jump over to NVIDIA, ticker symbol NVDA. So at 182, I told you guys that if the stock could get above 183, then look for a run to 188. And if the stock could get above 188, then look for a run to 191. And then I said above 191, the bull's next target was going to be at 195. Take a listen. Now to the upside, if NVIDIA can break and stay above 183, then I want you guys to look for a 3% run to 188. And if the stock could get above 188, then look for a run to 191. Above 191, the bull's next target is going to be at 195. And from current price, we're looking at a return of over 7%. And looking at the current chart, you guys can see that NVIDIA did exactly what I said it would. Now, Tom Lee just said that the S&P 500 could reach 7,500 by year's end. Take a listen.
Hey, Tom, have you been reading all these stories that just been out, recently here about how the Fed is doing all of this sort of repo activity, like a lot of repo activity, and I just wonder what that really means for both the markets and maybe even for crypto. This is a ton of money. I mean, it looks like something like $30 billion just to ease liquidity concerns. This is, past couple of days kind of thing.
It is pretty typical into month end, right? That's what we are seeing. And I think that some of these numbers are also being distorted because of the government shutdown. So we know that the Treasury reserves are building because there aren't any payments being made. So it is something we're watching. But if I was to say that there's signs of bank stress, I'd also be looking for high yield spreads to be widening. And those are actually staying pretty calm.
So you figure no problem with 7,000 by the end of the year, more likely something even above that in your view? Like what? Like 7,300?
Yeah, I mean, maybe 7,300, 7,500.
7,500.
Yeah, so we still, in December, we would build on those November gains.
See, Santoli's like, no way.
No, I don't say no way. I'm open-minded to how far bull markets can go, right? Strong years end strong. We all know about that. The one piece of it I think it's worth kind of struggling with a little bit, though, Tom, is you can look at the AAI surveys, kind of what people are saying, and then you see, equity exposures in, Bank of America private client accounts are basically at their highs, right? So people have kind of, in aggregate, been riding this to some degree. And then you see a lot of what we've talked about in the last several months of, this kind of upwelling of speculative action in non-profitable tech stocks, low-quality equities leading. That's not the Mag 7. That's like a lot of other marginal stuff. So how do you jibe that with that sense that people are still skeptical?
Yeah, I mean, one, we know there must be skepticism because if people were bullish, the institutional fund managers should have better performance. But as you know, this is one of the worst years for fund managers in almost 30 years. I think that there is also kind of problems in private markets. So I think private credit is doing terribly. And I think a lot of LPs in alternative funds, whether it's venture or private equity, are pretty disappointed by the returns, like the 5 years into now. But the stock market's done well. So I think that there is bearishness because like private equity hasn't come through and fund managers are doing badly. But you're right, the ones who stuck with public stocks are doing well.
Now, going into the rest of the video, I have some important levels for you guys to watch on ticker symbol NVDA, NVIDIA, and the trade desk ticker symbol TTD. Let's go ahead and begin with NVIDIA, ticker symbol NVDA. So overall, I am bearish on NVIDIA and I'm looking for a pullback down to 195 and then a pullback to 153. With that said, current support is going to be at 203. And if the stock cannot stay above this level, then look for a 6% pullback to 195. If 195 breaks, then we're looking at a pullback to 190. And if 190 failed to hold as support, then we're looking at a further pullback down to 183, which from current price would be a decline of over 11%. Now to the upside, as long as NVIDIA can stay above support at 203, then I want you guys to look for a 3% run to 213. The next stock is the Trade Desk, ticker symbol TTD. So today, the Trade Desk was down over 2.3% and is now sitting above support at 49.12. If buyers cannot keep the stock above this level, then I want you guys to look for a 3% pullback to 47.55. And if that level breaks, then look for a pullback to 46.22. Below 46.22, the bear's next target is going to be at 45.12. And from current price, we are looking at a decline of over 8%. Now to the upside, if Trade Desk can stay above current support at 49.12, then I want you guys to look for a 4% run to 51.40. If buyers can push the stock above 51.40, then look for a run to $54. And if the stock can get above $54, then look for a run to 56.70. With that said, my overall target for the Trade Desk remains at $76 per share. And from current price, we are looking at a return of over 56%. Alright guys, if you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment, and let's get this video out to more viewers. Also, if you're currently watching and you're not yet subscribed, do consider subscribing. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.